Well, the national home prices have increased for the fifth consecutive month in May, bringing the cumulative increase to 1.55% in 2023. So to talk about the latest real estate news, REA Group senior economist Eleanor Creagh joins us now. Eleanor, good morning to you. So the RBA's decision to lift, thank you so much. The RBA's decision to lift the cash rate in May didn't really interrupt the current home price rebound.
Yeah, you're exactly right. So we did see that the further increase in interest rates didn't interrupt the increase in home prices that we've seen so far this year. So national home prices recording the fifth consecutive month of increases, so 0.33% in the month of May, and actually recording the strongest quarterly pace of price growth since the March quarter of 2022 when home prices peaked. And we're continuing to see that this current price rebound has been led by the capital city markets, and the capital city markets actually recording the strongest quarterly pace of price growth since the December quarter of 2021. So certainly the RBA's decision to further lift interest rates didn't interrupt this current price rebound, with actually the price rebound becoming more pervasive and more widespread through the month of May. Actually, every capital city saw home prices rise, with the exception of Darwin, which saw a very, very small 0.01% decrease in home prices.
All right, and what about the regions? How did they fare?
So the trend that we've seen so far this year, whereby capital city markets are leading the price rebound, has really continued in May, with the regional areas recording a pretty small 0.03% uplift, whilst the capital cities combined recorded a 0.45% uplift in May. On an annual basis, regional markets do still retain their outperformance after having largely avoided the downturn last year, or certainly recorded a lesser pace of price falls than the capital city markets. But year to date, it really is those capital city markets, and particularly Sydney, that's leading the price rebound, with Sydney home prices up now a little over 3% from their low point recorded in November 2022. And of course, Adelaide and Perth, those smaller, more affordable capital city markets that again very much avoided the downturn that we saw in other capital city markets last year when interest rates were quickly rising. Home prices in both those capitals rising to a fresh record high. And we're continuing to see the similar dynamics underpinning home prices, whereby we've got a pretty tight supply environment. The flow of new listings remains pretty soft, and that tight advertised supply environment is really underpinning home prices. It's concentrating buyer interest. And we've got strong housing demand as well, certainly bolstered by, we think, very tight rental markets and that very strong rebound in net overseas migration as well.
And as you well know, the housing supply crisis and, just going on from what you said, the boss of NAB and other experts in the property market certainly calling for urgent action to fix the country's chronic undersupply of housing, warning that the failure will accelerate just what you said, the sharp rise in property prices and rents.
Certainly, we are seeing that, Australia is in the midst of a rental crisis. We've got a persistent undersupply of available rentals. Vacancy rates are at or close to record lows in most capital city markets, and rental market conditions are incredibly challenging. Meanwhile, we've also got the supply of new homes slowing. We've got construction industry challenges and construction costs having risen. And of course, population growth is raging ahead. And certainly, even with the current affordability challenges that we have, we're not building enough new homes to sustain the level required with population growth. So certainly, I think it was something that was, of course, missing from the federal budget. We did see those incentives for the build-to-rent sector, which could, of course, be a very helpful addition to our housing mix. But I don't think we went far enough in terms of a serious plan to reform state and local government planning systems and really meaningfully increase the supply of housing. The only real way to tackle affordability over the long term and sustainably is to build more of the right homes in the places where people want to live, and we'll continue to need more new homes with our population continuing to grow.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Well said. Thank you very much, as always, Eleanor Creagh.
Thank you for having me.